Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel for another video, and this one we're talking about the new Knight chassis that will be coming with the upcoming Eye of Terror supplement, Reign of Iron, to give it its full title, the Knight Destrier. Now I probably totally butchered the pronunciation of this name, but let's get into the nitty gritty of what this new chassis of Knight will bring to the Imperial Knights. Now, this new chassis sits somewhere size-wise between the Armiger and the Questoris. So it's a bit bigger than the Armiger, a bit smaller than the Questoris. But one thing this thing does have when it comes to looking at its datasheet is speed. This thing can move. So speaking of a datasheet, let's get into the headlines of the stats. Like I said, it can move 12 inches to be exact. It's quick. Toughness 10, 3 plus save, 5 up in run, it's standard Knight save with Knight in run ready against range attacks only, 18 wounds, 6 plus leadership, OC of 8. So it pretty much fits in the middle stat line wise as well. It's tougher it's beefier than an Armiger. It's faster than both the Armiger and the Questoris. It's not quite as beefy as the Questoris. So, stat-wise, it fits in the gap between the two existing Knight chassis. Lore-wise, it is the gap, the newest chassis in the stock, the gap between the Questoris and the Armiger chassis. So, this is basically what Imperial Knights are getting in lieu of Chaos Knights getting all their different flavours of War Dog. The Imperium and their thing of deciding, hold on, let's make some new stuff, have actually decided, yeah, let's make a new Knight chassis. So let's get into the next big thing with this, payload. What weapons does it sport? Well, the long and short answer is, what do you want it to sport? Because this thing can be built to be all shooting, it can be built to be all melee, or a mixture of the two. And let me elaborate on that. So it comes out of the box with a Chastiser Gatling cannon and a Frag Bombard. So it comes out of the box built for shooting. You can replace either of those weapons. Now note, you can't double up on these melee weapons. So you can't have you can't have two of the chainsaws, you can't have two of the spears. You have to have one of each. But you can build these things to be pure melee machines if you want them to. So you can swap the Chastiser Gatling cannon for the Ballista Sweeper chainsaw or the Thundershock spear. And if you want to go all melee, you can swap the Frag Bombard for the other one you don't take, basically. But, Malda, it's all well and good seeing what these weapons are. What do they do? Let's get into that now, shall we? We'll start off with the Chastiser Gatling cannon. So, it's an assault weapon. 24 range, 12 attacks, ballistic skill 3, strength 6, minus 1 AP, 2 damage. So on the face of it, it's sort of the baby brother of the Night Warden's Avenger Gatling cannon. The Frag Bombard, Assault Blast Rapid Fire D6 plus 3, again 24 inches, excuse me, attacks D6 plus 3, so can be a bit swingy on the attack, so you're probably looking on average about 6, maybe 7 shots, but anywhere from 4 up to 9. Again, hitting on 3s, strength 7, minus 1 AP, 2 damage. So, less reliable shot numbers than the Avenger Gatling cannon, but hits slightly harder. So, and both those range weapons do 2 damage, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. So, the range weapon options are pretty good. They're sort of identical, but not. I mean, the Flag Bombard at half range with its rapid fire of D6 plus 3 can absolutely rain hellfire and brimstone. But both are very good, solid range options for what is essentially a mid-class of knight. Middle class, not mid as in average. You know what I mean. But let's get into its melee weapons, and we'll start off with the Ballastus Chainsword. Now, both melee weapons have two profiles. Your standard strike attack, which is the higher powered, stronger one, but you do less of them, and the wound clearance sweep. So let's start off with the Ballastus Chainsword strike profile. 5 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 12, minus 3 AP, D3 plus 3 damage. Nothing wrong with that at all. Minimum of 4 damage, ignoring marine armour, dropping terminators down to 5s, wounding most infantry based models at least on 3s, and hitting 5 times. Nothing too shabby about that stat line at all for a strike. Its sweep profile, the wound clearer. 10 attacks, so double the attacks, again hitting on 3s, strength 8, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. Nothing flashy, but perfectly solid. This thing can get surrounded, it can cleave its way out, assuming you have this weapon equipped to it, of course. Now let's get to the Thundershock Spear. Again, it has two profiles, strike and sweep. It also has the lance swivel. But let's get into its profile. So, this one does slightly less attacks than its chainsword counterpart. 4 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 12, minus 3 AP, D3 plus 3 damage. So, stat line the same for 1 less attack. But on the model, the spear looks so much cooler. The sweep attack, again. You get 8 attacks with this one, hitting on 3s, strength 6. So not as strong as the chainsword sweep, but it does make up for that by having an extra point of AP. And 2 damage. So, again, perfectly solid, very good profile, and it's a case of what do you want from your melee weapon? Do you want more attacks that the chainsword will give you? Or do you want the whirl of cool, the benefits of the lance swivel, and everything that the Thundershock Spear will give you? I have to admit, it's a tough call. I played my cards on the table, and I would go with the Thundershock Spear because I just think it looks better. Now, granted, depending on what your meta is, if you play a lot of horde armies, maybe the chainsword will be the better option to get more attacks. But a lot of it with the weapons, same with the ranged weapons, with them being so similar, a lot depends on what your meta is as a knight player. If you play a lot of horde armies, like say Tyranids, Genestealer cults, orcs, you want to go with the more attacks and the more shots. If your meta isn't as horde centric, then the Gatling cannon and the Thundershock Spear can come into play. But none of the weapons this thing can take are bad. A lot of it is personal preference, rule of cool, and dependent entirely on whatever your local meta is. But let's get into the abilities of this little beastie, shall we? So, remember how we said it was quick? Yeah. Movement 12, and it also has the Ramjets ability. So each time it's selected to make a normal or advanced move until the end of a phase, add D3 to the move characteristic of this model. So it has a natural move of 12. Make that somewhere between 13 to 15 if you're doing a normal move. More if you're doing an advance. This thing can move. This thing is fast. This thing could be an absolute cruise missile depending on how you build it and what you send it against. Thunder charge. So if it this the thunder charge ability benefits if you build it melee. If this model is equipped with a thundershock spear and a lattice chainsword, add 2 to the attack characteristics for other melee weapons equipped by this model. Basically, you're just winning it. You're just winning in there like the Flash, melee weapons swinging, and you're just stacking up the bodies. So a nice little benefit there for if you decide to run this as a melee beatstick. Saturation Fire is its final ability. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within range of one or more objective markers, that attack has the Ignores cover ability. Yep, your opponent wants to camp on an objective? Send this dude in with its frag launcher or Gatling cannon. Their cover all of a sudden means absolutely nothing. And of course it has the obligatory knight thing of if it's got between 1 to 6 wounds remaining. Every time it misses, you subtract 4 from its objective control characteristic and it's -1 to hit. And that, in essence, is the Knight Destrier. Now again, I probably butchered the hell out of that, but we go. So, what do you think of this Knight, players? I really like this thing. I like the versatility in how you can build it. I like how fast it is. I like how it can slide into any build of Knight army you want. You want very close range and melee, this thing can do it. You want very shooting orientated, this thing can handle it. It is truly a jack of all trades. Whilst it might not be a master of none, it is a jack of all trades, perfect utility piece. Fills in a niche for Imperial Knights where they were lacking compared to the amount of war dogs their Chaos Knight brethren could bring. But this thing steps into the breach in spades. I really like it. And that brings us to the end of this video. As always, cheers for watching, and until the next one, sayonara.